Good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? Hope everybody's doing well out there and catching plenty of fish. My name is Ray Lambert, and today's segment is going to be consistent of talking about how we can install the Seastar Pro Series hydraulic steering system that I just got. And because I don't know about y'all, but those of us have had to deal with the limited order style cable steering, stuff like that, and some of the older boats. I have a 2005 Nitro 882 Bass Boat Series. It's not the funnest thing in the world when it comes down to trying to steer that boat. So I decided to go ahead and upgrade my steering system here. And I'm going to also be at the same time putting in a Pro Trim signal switch to make it a whole lot more easier to decide to sit there and trim and everything on my motor than trying to sit there and use it on my handle or what have you. Also, just to let you know, on the Seastar, it also recommends not using the wired trim switch. It can wrap around your steering wheel like that with the wire as you turn it and stuff like that. So keep that in mind whenever you try to order a Seastar Series Pro hydraulic steering system. Alright, and of course, I got my 20-foot cable. Make sure when you do decide to go up to the Seastar Series, not the Baystar, you're okay with it, but the Seastar Series 150 and above, you're going to want to sit there and make sure you have the Kevlar protected hosing like that, because it can handle higher PSI stuff instead of blowing out on you if you're using standard. You cannot use it with the Baystar. Alright, so you want to make sure that the Baystar you can use standard hosing, but when you go to the Seastar, you're going to use a whole lot more Kevlar protected housing and stuff like that. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and take out this here oval wiring steering system, and I'll save you trouble from having to watch that. But I'll give a couple pictures like that so everybody can see what I'm dealing with. And I'll get it taken apart, and we're going to continue from there. Alright, see you soon. As you can see here, this is the old system that I'm going to be taking out. Again, there's no type of reservoir like up here. This is all, like I said, it's all wire housing, runs inside, and all the wiring setups inside here. I'm going to have a great time taking all that out. Like I said, I'm going to also be upgrading my trim switch, what have you, but that's going to be later on as I go. And as anybody knows, here's my two wires. Lines coming out. Solid cables, pretty stiff. It's going to be fun taking those out. This is my old system here now that I have. As you can see, coming like that, two wires in. It's just a standard housing system. Alright, and also, as you can see, I do have a Mercury XR6 150 horsepower motor, 2-stroke. But even though it says it's 150 and below, it can't handle Baystar. Keep in mind these 2 strokes or what have you, some of them do have a little more power, especially whenever you change out the prop or what have you to a performance prop or what have you. So I would err on the caution of going ahead and just basically upgrading to go ahead and go from a Baystar to a Seastar. It's only a few $100 more, but I think in the long run, safety wise, it'd be well worth it. Alright, I'll see y'all in a bit when we get this off. One other thing I wanted to show before I do take this off is the difference in what we have now before and after. As you can see, we have a pretty good amount of play in that cable wiring. Not all boats are like this, but the majority of them do have some. And if you look here, it is pretty stiff to get this thing here to turn. Now you can't really tell, but if you can see right in my hands, you can see I'm having it turn pretty good. And that's just getting the motor to turn a little bit at a time. So after you put this hydraulic system on here, it is going to take care of this play. And we're going to sit there and be able to basically just take my one hand and push without having to sit there and fight it all. Alright, see you in a bit. Alright, now I went ahead and got out the pretty much the old wiring system like that, out of the steering system and everything off. And now we're moving forward to the next phase here. And that's get ready to put in the Seastar Pro hydraulic steering system. Alright, here's my hose. I ordered 20 feet of hose. Probably only needed about 16 feet, 12 feet, somewhere around there, but it couldn't hurt to have a bit of extra. So here's my hose, and as you can see, it's pretty nice stuff. The material's made out of really good material, looks to be pretty solid. Kevlar protected hose, which is again required for anything over the Baystar. Alright, so as I said, with the Seastar Series, anything over that, you got to have the Kevlar Enforcer protected hose to handle the PSI. Alright, again, Like it here, they got them color coded, green and red, to make it easy for us when we get on later for left and right. So let's move forward here and see what we got inside the box, shall we? All right, here we go. Like this, the first thing you're gonna see is the instruction manual. It's always good. I like that. Inside, everything's nice and wrapped up pretty nicely. So it looks like we have our fluid, we have our Seastar system, we have our bleeding tubes, which is very nice to have. So we have our helm system here. Again, I really do like the packing. Pretty solid system. Of course, all our tools, everything excess parts that we will need in the rear here in a few minutes. Again, normally you would have to buy these. These right here actually come with them. Some systems you order, you have to please pay attention on that, because yeah, these right here will come with it. But the brackets right here, they're not come with all of them. So you need to make sure you get the complete kit. All right, so there's our Seastar system. I think she looks pretty nice. She's gonna look really nice on the back of this boat. All right, get with you here once I get this system here set up and get ready to put it on. All right, here's the next phase to it here. As you open up instructions like that, it comes out with the dashboard mounting information and template. As you can see here, I've already cut it out. And this right here template is going to be greatly appreciated from when we get to this phase here. As you can see, this is my dash, and my steering wheel is all gone from it. And basically the steering wheel hole, I've already got taped up here. The steering wheel hole is only about this wide right here where my fingers are at. Well, we need a 3-inch hole out here. So this gives us a nice little template. Another thing I like about this Seastar system is that they give you pretty much everything to make it really easy for us to put it in. Especially someone like myself, first time ever doing this. So basically all you got to do is you come over, you put your template up here, you cut it out, stick it on it, even it all up. Just push your finger. All I did was really just push my finger around like this. And now you can't really see it. There you go. You can see an outline here as you rub your finger around. And basically all I did was just basically through my finger, basically. And that gave me my almost perfect center right there. There's a quick way of doing it. You can measure it if you like. And it also gives you your holes for your drilling parts. So you come along, you want to make sure that this right here reservoir cap is up top. And as you can see, everything lines up perfectly right there when we decide to put it in. Now the fun part is using your 3-inch hose saw, cutter, blade, or what have you. We're going to sit here and cut ourselves a 3-inch hole. One other thing I will also like to point out before we cut our 3-inch hole is that you want to make sure that there's nothing, all your wiring, all your harness like that, is nothing behind this when you go to drill through it, because you are making a larger hole than what your manufacturer originally put in there. And I do know some people that have sat here and drilled through this and not realizing that their electrical wiring, some of their dashboard gauges or what have you is right behind this system. And when they drill right into it or cut the wire, what have you. So please, please, please take caution that you double check everything from my hand here and move everything back so you can get here and put your hand. You should better take your hand and put up here and nothing at all be in your way. And if you can't do that, then that means you need to go in there and just rearrange a couple things. All I did was take all my wiring harness like that earlier, and I pushed everything up and zip tied everything way away from it so I cannot hit anything, or if it's low enough to where I'm not going to be in the way. So just wanted to bring that to attention too. All right, I'll see you when I cut it out. All right, here we are now with the helm inside the dash, and basically I went ahead and, like I said, I was going to install a trim switch, up and down trim switch, to kind of react from over here. And it's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy to put in. Actually, it's extremely easy. I had more difficult putting on the sticker straight than I did putting put it in. Basically, you're just going to take out your 3 harness screws, which is already mounted on your mount. You're going to take those out, and then the Pro Trim comes with 3 screws with it already, a little bit longer, just a fraction bit longer. And then you're just going to put in the new trim screws with the Pro Trim switch, and basically mount it back on, screw it down, and you got your wires. You have an option to either you can drill a hole right back here through your dash and go in, or what I'm going to do, instead of drilling holes, I'm not a big fan of making this more weaker, anywhere weaker right here. I'm just going to basically put my line, come a line down here, come under and wrap under, because it's going to be out of the way and nobody's really going to see it. And I'm just going to use a black zip tie, run across here real nice and neat, and zip tie it down here real strong, real good, and wrap it around and connect it inside here. That way I'll have a little wire running around here. So we'll do that later. When we do it, I went ahead and do it now. So when I put my steering wheel and stuff on here a little bit, this is already done and over with. Keep in mind though, anytime you messing with this helm or whatever, you have your, I call it steering wheel biscuit, a little piece of metal right here that comes out. If you lose that, you either have to fabricate yourself one, you're gonna need to go buy yourself one, because that is what keeps your steering wheel from spinning around a big circle. So again, best thing to do is, I had a piece of tape over it, I had to remove it a while ago to so I wouldn't lose it. Either tape it back around, put a piece of tape back around to hold it on so you don't lose it, or put it somewhere really good safe and you won't forget it and lose where it's at, because you will need that. So again, keep in mind, do not lose this little biscuit. Alright, so we got the helm stuff put in already, and now here comes the fun part. We're going to be installing the hose system. Now I'm going to save you the trouble from me sitting here and you watching me drag a hose all the way through my boat. It's pretty much self-explanatory. You know, you have 2 different separate ends, and both ends will do the same thing. There is no difference on which end you want to use. Both connections are the same. You can see anything, but it is a good thing to sit there and find out, make sure you are the right ones that you're connecting. Some hoses are a little different. Alright, but this one's not. So I'm going to take this right here. I'm basically going to run it through underneath my dash, down the side of my boat, right out through the back end of the boat where my other wires are originally coming out. Luckily for me, on this particular boat, I don't have a lot of foams like that inside, and it's pretty much straight shot all the way through. So I'll put this thing in, and we'll get back and pick up the next section here. One other little side note here I'd like to add is that when I did pull my other hose back through again, my old wiring like that too, I did manage to tie some string to it like that, so I can have myself a pull string, which is a good idea. As you pull out your old wirings like that back through your dash and everything, you pull the string along with it. So now, when I go to hook this up, I got my little string over there. I'm going to tie it to it, tape it off, tape this all nice and smooth. I recommend doing that. It's already kind of smooth now, but if you tape this up really nice and smooth, it's pretty much way less friction, and it slides right through everything you need to do. I can pull that string back to the back of the boat, pull it right back out, and there's my hoses. So again, a little key thing that can save you a lot of trouble in the future is when you pull out your old line, tie your string or something, just a smaller thin string, whatever, pull your string through the boat, that way it's inside here, and when you pull it back through, pull your string back through, and you can pull the string and pull everything out right with it. Just another little key trick that saves you a lot of trouble and time. Alright, what we have here is already got the Seastar outboard motor steering cylinders system here already installed as far as set up onto the motor. That basically consisted of, all I did was come here to the main screw right underneath here, right down the center of the motor, right down here, right here. It's just one little bar that sticks out. Some of them is going to be a little bit different than some of the motors. Pull that screw out, took out the old bar that was there, put in a new bar, re-screw this back down. It can be a little challenging. Make sure you check on your right tools like that. But we got that set up now. I want to make sure it's not too tight where we do have a little bit of play, because that's what's going to be moving back and forth left and right on your motor main part here. So we want to make sure that's kind of loose, but yet the bolts are tight. You got a locking bolt at the bottom on the main motor mount. So make sure you put that locking bolt back. But it's pretty much threaded all the way through there. It's not going nowhere. Alright, and now next thing we're going to do is go ahead and take out our other rod, and we're going to go ahead and install it into the motor housing, which is going to give us more support and be able to keep it sturdy when we move left and right. Alright, now we got our hoses, went in and ran through here. Those you have a red and a green. Hope you color coded. Ran through the side wall. along through the back that come out of the wheel, basically right here where everything else comes out in the motor system. It runs right into the housing, the motor. Again, I color code it, which makes it extremely easy. You don't want to lose those when you're in the wear wall pushing it through, and if you do, then it's easy to just mark it with a marker or something like that, a paint marker or something. All right, we're going to hook these up to here and there, and then underneath the steering column where the reservoir is at. All right, so I got it all hooked up now, and as you can see back here, all my hoses are hooked up. All right, now next step here was to bleed out all the air so like that for your attachment up here. You can see you got your hose here, your valve that you turn open, and you would normally hold up as a tube to come with it, and you hold your cord up like that and then keep it up in the air. That's the biggest thing. You got to keep it up. Let gravity do its thing. You fill this reservoir up first. Once you fill up this reservoir to completely full up, then all you're going to do is you're going to come back here and you're going to turn the steering wheel all the way to your right as hard as you can. I mean, you turn it, keep turning it, keep turning it, keep turning it. You will actually see the fluid go down the little clear tube that comes down inside here. Unfortunately, I had to bypass that and kind of do my own thing with it because of the fact that my tube actually had a hole in it. Came from the manufacturer, but that's okay. Now, things do happen. It's not a problem. I easily worked around it. I was able to cut a little piece off of it and make it work. So I won't be able to demonstrate that to you. But basically, like I said, you have your clear tube that comes up to your quart of hydraulic fluid up here, and you get 2 quarts. You take your first quart, keep it upside down. Again, you have to keep it upside down to keep gravity coming down to keep bubbles from coming inside. If you got here, as good as any air can get inside. But again, all you're going to do is you're going to turn it as far as you can, keep turning to the right until it gets stiff. Once it gets right to the stiff, and as hard as you can get it, you're going to go back here to the back of the boat, and you got your bleed valve right here. Okay? You have a bleed valve right here. You're going to take this cover off. All right, back here you're going to have a jar or something like that. I recommend I use a glass mason jar, a pretty nice sized glass mason jar, so I can actually see how clear it is, make sure there's no debris inside of it, and actually reuse it again. Now you're supposed to strain it through a strainer to make sure you don't get any impurities like that, debris. But again, that's why I like my glass mason jar I used, so that way I can see through it and make sure everything was good, and just reuse it instead of going to buy more. All right, so again, you pull out your bleeder here. You're going to pull this cap off, and you're going to put your little clear hose onto it. It runs it to your mason jar or whatever you want to use. By the way, make sure you got plenty of napkins like that or rags. All right, and then you're going to have your partner, whoever it is, up at the other boat is going to turn the steering wheel. You're going to hold pressure here a little bit, and you're going to have them turn the steering wheel counterclockwise to the left as much as they can, and also keeping that quart up there by the steering wheel, elevate it, and watch the bubbles. Make sure you don't stir it too fast because you can suck bubbles down inside of it and it will mess up and get air in it. You don't want to do that. But as somebody else turn the steering wheel, you actually watch this gradually start shooting out air and bubbles like that. Now, once it starts to move on you, you're going to put your force here to start to move on you. It starts to pour to you. You see clear liquid coming out. Once your clear liquid is coming out into the mason jar, now you go ahead and you tighten this back up, or you just turn it back, tighten it nice and tight, and then you're going to go to the other side, right here, and you're going to pull the same thing off like that. You're going to pull that little tube off right here, this valve right here, pull it off, that's another bleeder. You're going to pull it out, just pull this little rubber protector off, and then you're going to loosen up just a teeny bit. I mean, it only takes a little bit, it's enough to get air out. Again, you take whatever's left in your jar, make sure nothing debris in it, take it back over there. I just cut the bottom of the 1 quart power steering fluid. 1 quart of hydraulic fluid, basically inside of it. I took it, I cut the bottom of it off, and I basically just poured right back in the oil that I already had here. Again, making sure it's not messed up or nothing wrong with it. No debris in it. All right, and then basically, I'll come back here, put my jar back, I ran my clear hose into it, and then you go on the upper side, and you have them turn the steering wheel to the right as hard as it can. And when they do that, this motor is going to move back over here, and you're going to see a lot of oil, a lot of water and debris and stuff like that, if there's any, come out of it into back in that mason jar. All right, again, Once you bleed that and it comes all the way over and you can't hold it back anymore, put any more pressure on it, and it moves and it locks, that steering wheel locks in, then you go ahead and you tighten this back up. And my friends, you have yourself a completely airtight system. You're gonna go back over here, you're gonna pull your hose out, being careful that you don't drop a lot of oil like that or what have you down from it dripping. All right, you're gonna put your cleaner rags out here, and I'll put a little protector mat down here to catch any drips and stuff that comes from it. You pull it out, put your cap back on, make sure the reservoir is full. You will see it literally full. Close it back up, and then basically you can come here now and I basically can turn that engine and there is no play at all in that thing. I mean, as you can see, it is turning with no problem at all. Like I said, it should, I mean, I can barely move this steering wheel and it should have no bubbling and like that. You will hear it. You will hear a little click. I don't know if you can hear that or not. That's just part of the system. That's the valves inside shutting off one side to the other side. But once that valve engages, anything move after that, it catches and turns. So that's pretty much about it as far as that there goes. Okay, here we go. Everything is already nice and hooked up. Everything just pretty much came out already, existing holes and everything else already here came out. It hooked up pretty nicely. Looks really good. Hooked up all my mounts here, and fits in really nice. Now you got to keep in mind on this systems right here, you do need to make sure that you got plenty of room in your well system here. So if not, you know, you could run into some problems like that. Now I've tilted my boat up, tilted it all the way down, move left and right, and it works very nice in there. Fits in really good. Seastar really did a good job when they again made this here system for this particular boat or what have you. Again, the hoses are a little bit more out than I would like, but you cannot take them more than around 3.5 or 3.25 degree turns on like that, and so I had to come out a little bit more. But you know what? I can play around this later on. Everybody can play with it, depending on your model, your boat, what have you, and your well back here, how you want to play around with it. I mean, you can adjust these fittings on each side. You can rotate them around. So probably in the future I might come back and play around with it. But right now, I think she looks good, and I think it's got plenty of room for it to move around on both left and right, no problem. And like I said, it was no problem moving everything over here through the boat. And as you can see, it mounts up and looks really, really nice. A good, really nice addition to where it was already there. Doesn't really come out too much. And like I said, the Seastar trim switch is a really good and nice addition to with it. As you can see, I can now steer this boat like that, and I can adjust my up and down with no problem at all, just a little bit of finger. I mean, I still got it over here if I want it, but I really like this here a lot. And like I said, now earlier, I know when I showed everyone how hard it was to turn it, when I had to sit there and basically crank on it with my hands, I like to show you now how easy it is, and basically proof this system is worth it. I can literally take my fingers now and turn this whole entire steering wheel with nothing but my finger. As you can see, it is that easy. I mean, it turns over. It is exactly around 5.5 turns from one side to the other. And I mean, I can never do that with one finger, as y'all seen before in the back, but not a problem at all. And like I said, the only thing that's left to do now is basically get her out in the water and take her for a spin. And again, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time to let me be able to show you basically how to install a Seastar system. And I look forward to hopefully showing y'all some more stuff in the future. Again, as always, stay safe, God bless, and enjoy your fishing. Have a good one.